Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to do something a bit different than my usual types of videos. Today, we're going to go through a list of things that don't really get talked about that often, but are super important to know if you want to get better at Tekken. Some of these things are for intermediate players, and some are for beginners, so some of these things will apply to everybody. So without further ado, let's just start on the list. Number 1, when you sidestep, don't press too early. Now, you can see this move from Feng is very linear, right? I can sidestep right really easily. The thing is, if I press a button before the last hit of the string has come out, then I will get hit by that last attack. So what's happening here is if I press too early, like going for a whiff punish too early, Feng will realign with me and I'll get hit by the last attack. So, if you're wondering, why am I getting hit? I sidestep that move. If it's not because the move has a ton of tracking, this is most likely the reason. Just remember, the sidestep, wait for your opponent's move to come out, and then whiff punish, and drop the combo like I did. Otherwise, this will happen time and time again, and you'll be discouraged from sidestepping, which is obviously something we don't want in a game like Tekken. We need to be sidestepping. So just remember to wait until your opponent has finished the string before you whiff punish, right? So the next thing on my list is the variable get up options, and we're going to use Kazuya's forward 4 tech as an example. In a lot of Kazuya's combos, he can end his combo like this, with a forward 4 followed to spike them to the ground, and then followed by a forward 4. Now the thing is with this tech, if my opponent quick stands here, I won't get this tech. It won't work. They can always block this if they hold up the quick stand, okay? However, if they stay on the ground and don't do anything, obviously this tech works, right? Because it hits grounded. But also, if they tech roll, this also hits as well. This is just an example of how you should be aware of your opponent's Oki options, so you can avoid eating the Oki traps your opponent's character has. These are all character specific, by the way, so it's a good idea every time you get in combo to be thinking, right, how am I going to get up once their combo is ended? So always be thinking that. Number 3 I have on my list is when you're getting comboed, spam away, spam tech roll to not get reset. If you go through your replays, you probably would have noticed that when you're comboing some of your opponents, they are spamming buttons. Now there's actually a reason to do this. If you don't press anything, what can happen is your opponent can get resets on you and start their combo all over again. This can also happen by accident as well. I'm going to show you a reset combo now. So you want to avoid this at all costs, right? I mean, look how much damage that is. And that is just because my character is on quick stand. They're not tech rolling. If I put the opponent on tech roll, this doesn't work. See, he can tech roll out of the way there. It doesn't work now. It doesn't work at all. So this can happen by accident, and I think this happens a lot more in Tekken 8 than it did in Tekken 7. So in the future, if you're not doing this already, then spam away when you're getting comboed. Spam tech roll to avoid getting reset, because at the end of the day, all that's going to happen is your opponent drops their combo and then you tech roll out of the way and they don't get to finish their combo. Or they go for a reset, which is based on you quick standing or not pressing anything. Because this also works if your opponent doesn't press anything at all, you'll also get reset. So if you're not doing this already, then spam tech roll away to avoid getting reset. There's no downside to doing this, really, unless your opponent has a specific tech catch for tech rolls. But in most cases, people are dropping their combos. People are dropping their combos and get accidental resets a lot of the time. Like I said, I think this happens more in Tekken 8 than it did in Tekken 7, so spam tech roll to avoid this. So number 4 on my list is adjust your combo for the wall. If you're pretty near the wall, don't go for your normal combo. If we're near the wall, do a different combo. Law's a very good example of this because he has such a good wall combo if he saves his bound for the wall. If I do my normal bread and butter here, I only get 73 damage, right? If I adjust my combo here, I get 85 damage, right? That does not seem right. There we go, 91 damage. As opposed to 70 something, I think it was. If I did my normal bread and butter combo every time here, I would lose out on so much damage. So always be aware of your place on the stage when you launch somebody. It's also a good idea to know how damaging your wall combo is in this regard as well. So I know that Law's wall combo is very damaging. So if I can adjust my combo here and go for this one, save my bound for the wall. There's a ton of different options you can do. That's just a tech catch, but yeah, just be aware of where you are on the stage when you launch somebody and try and adjust your combo for the wall. It can mean the difference between like 50 damage and 70 damage, so it's a really useful thing to know about. So the next thing I have on my list is you don't always have to low block a low attacking move. Like for instance, Shao Yu's -12 low. When somebody does a low, you have different options, right? You don't always have to low block. And in this game, where lows are -11 or 12, it's better to either do a low parry, or what's on this list is doing a low crushing launcher, like a hop kick. With characters that have these kinds of lows, like Xiaoyu or Lily, this is also a useful deterrent to get them to stop doing the lows. Stop doing these really abusable lows. Because they're getting launched for 1,000,000 damage now. It's a really good deterrent to stop them doing that. Because if I do while standing 4 here, I get 14, right? This one is also very risky, I should say. So only do this if you are sure your opponent is going for a low attack. Like if a Xiaoyu keeps going into Hypnotist here and keeps doing the -12 low, because why wouldn't they? It's only -12. It's not really very risky, and they can launch you for 1 billion damage. It's a good idea sometimes, if you're absolutely sure they're doing that low, is to go for a low crushing launcher. So the next thing I have on my list is that some strings can be interrupted. This is more of a beginner one. Just in case you do not know, this is really important to know about. And I'm going to use Dragunov as an example here. Dragunov's down 3-2-1+2 leaves me at +2 on block, right? And in crouch. So I don't have many options here. I'm +2, yeah. But he just did a mid-high ending in a mid. And I'm only +2 here. But you can interrupt this move, right? You can even get a standing 4 in there. You get 64 damage as opposed to nothing, right? So make sure you know which strings can be interrupted or not. Otherwise, you're letting your opponent get away with murder a lot of the time. And I'll also just show you, because we're doing Dragunov, right? You can also jab interrupt this, and you can get a full combo here as well. $50 damage, as opposed to him being +5. So these are really important things that you should know about. If you don't know your opponent's strings that can be jab interrupted, try and make sure you do, or look for or you can even test this in a game, like as long as it's not a match that you care about, like a ranked game or whatever. Test this against friends and stuff, against their characters or characters you don't know so well. We always want to know if we can jab interrupt a string so that your opponent can't abuse it and become +5 on block, because this is obviously very bad for us. So yeah, it's a useful thing to know. This is more of like a knowledge-based thing, like if you either know it or you don't, but just be aware that some strings are interruptible. With some strings you can easily tell whether it's interruptible or not. But yeah, just try and find out the best way you can by playing with friends or even just testing it out in quick matches or whatever. And the last thing on my list, and this is going to sound a bit strange at first, but just hear me out. Sometimes when your opponent has plus frames, you don't always have to respect their frames. For example, Reina's forward 2 is +2 on block, and she goes into Sentai, right? She doesn't have to go into Sentai, but it leaves her -9. But if she holds forward, she goes into Sentai, right, and she's +2. Now, the fastest move that she has from Sentai is the 12 frame homing high, right? Which is +1 on block. That means that if you try and jab interrupt, you will trade with this homing high, right? Because you're only +2 here. You will trade with the jab here. The only thing that will beat a jab here is the high crushing low that is -29 on block. So what you can actually do is jab interrupt a couple of times when she does this, and then her only options are either to do a homing high that trades or do the low. But the thing is, you can beat both of those options by just ducking. You'll either duck the high or block the launch punishable low. This one is very risky, so this one's kind of a hard read kind of situation one on the list, but I think it's pretty important to know about that. Just another option you can use in your game plan. It's also a very good way to get around your opponent's character's pressure, because we all know that in Tekken 8, the pressure that some characters have is can be really overwhelming sometimes. Just use it at your own risk. It is very risky, and you need to have a hard read if you're going to use this kind of thing like jab interrupting. Just know that when your opponent's plus, if you respect them 24/7, you're playing their game. And it does help stop the momentum they have, but just jab interrupting, because now they don't know what you're going to respect. So it's a kind of mind game here as well. But just use this at your own risk. It is very risky and very situational. But it's just another option you can use in your gameplay. Right, that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys found this useful. Let me know in the comments if you like these types of videos, and I might do more of them. This kind of like list format thing that I have going on in this video. If you like the video, leave a like, and if you're new here and you want to find your way back, hit the subscribe button down below. That's going to be it from me. Hope you guys found this useful, and I will see you in the next one.